podcast is brought to you by Andersen Windows. Builders and contractors agree that Andersen is the window and door brand with fewer callbacks. Don't let the hidden costs of callbacks, bad reviews, or racked windows ever set you back.
Vinyl windows might seem cheaper up front, but 100 series products are the sneaky value play thanks to their lasting quality. They also have a modular design for easier installs, saving you valuable time.
Fewer callbacks can lead to more 5-star reviews and can help you make sure your business is built to last. Plus, there's always Andersen's 10-year limited warranty on finish and fading on top of the Andersen Pro programs to help make your business even more resilient. For more information, head over to andersenwindows.com/pros. This podcast is brought to you by Buildertrend. Think AI can't work for your business? Well, think again. Top builders are already using AI to put themselves ahead of the competition, and you can too.
Check out this webinar co-hosted by Buildertrend and the Association of Professional Builders, where they discuss all things AI in construction and how to get your team on board.
You'll learn how AI can streamline your workflows, reduce errors, add hours back to your day, and make your business more profitable. Plus, discover the right solutions for your business and how to customize them for your needs. Head over to buildertrend.com/MCAI to register today and skyrocket your business into the future. This podcast is brought to you by Velux. Skylights are a surprising way to add interest to a home, and we hear that homeowners are so happy after installing Velux skylights that they wish they had installed more. Velux's cut, place, and seal installation makes it easy to add natural light to your build, and innovative technology including built-in rain sensors, solar power, and 3 layers of leak protection makes skylights a great addition to any project.
Yeah, and most builders agree they're even easier to install than a vertical window while still creating an impressive space. Visit veluxusa.com/remodeler to learn more about their industry-leading installation and warranty.
What's up, Tyler?
Yo, what's going on?
So much.
That'd be a lovely conversation. Well, you guys, it's just going to be suspenseful for you, but Nick and I just had a wonderful conversation offline that you will not be a part of, but
What a way to start this one, huh?
Maybe you wish you had been.
I don't know. For what it's worth, it is not all that interesting. So you were just in Boston for the second time in a short period of time.
Correct.
And officially now part of the Contractor Coalition Summit.
Yeah, that was it was a lot. I know I'd been to the one in Minneapolis. It was a lot then, but then being there and engaging in it and getting started early, and then all the interaction, all the questions, everything that we have going on until 11 o'clock at night. I came home and was like, I felt like I got hit by a truck.
Yeah.
It was a lot. There were so many, I feel like so many great people to meet. I came home, I was telling my wife about all the people. It was so much fun.
Yeah, someone asked me on I went right to work on Monday afternoon. They're like, "How was your event?" I'm like, it was good. They're like, "You tired?" I'm like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, I feel like exactly, that's a great way to put it. Feel like you get hit by a truck as it is. It's first thing in the morning until past your bedtime. But it is, so Monday we always do a Q&A in the morning, and I guess I'm not surprised, but it always goes the full 3 hours.
Yeah.
And, one of the things I kind of opened up about towards the end of that was, the reason why we do it. Because someone had asked me, they're like, "Nick, do you think you'll be doing this for the next 10 years? I was like, "Oh, I've never actually considered that." But I mean, I would assume that we could keep this thing going for 10 plus years. Like, but do you think you'll be doing it? Like, will you be up there talking? And I was like, "Oh, I also haven't considered that." I mean, I guess there's a world where I don't teach everything. But in the current environment, what I told the crowd is just, I feel like this is our way of giving back. Because even to this day, I soak up as much information from anyone that's willing to give it to us or to me, that it's only right for me to turn around and try to share that back with everyone.
Yeah.
And, it was why we started the podcast. It's why I think others, Brad and Morgan, and why everyone does, shares what we're doing, whether it's whether it's the completed work, the process, or running a business, or coaching someone through something. It's, we're trying to better the industry. And for me, I think this is one of the more powerful ways that we can do that.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of people, obviously all the vendors there and everything else, but it was cool this time just being a part of it and like feeling as though not I don't want to say like more welcome, but just being a part of it and having conversations with people and feeling more engaged. Last time I was in Minnesota, I kind of felt like I was on the outside, more like I was a guest. So this time I made it a point, obviously, to meet everyone, sit down with everyone, speak to everyone. And that, like I said it last time, that's the best part about the event, all of the people. But like this reaffirmed that. Just the relationships of everyone who you meet and everyone's business and learning about everyone's business and what people are looking to try and improve on was really cool. Obviously, there's so many people to meet and so much stuff to do, but it was really cool. And I know that most of the relationships will last for a very long time. And it's just somebody to have in your back pocket and network with. The one guy, Nate, I was speaking to, Nate Spearing. So he has an interesting background. He was in the military, and then he started his own business shortly after. But he realized that like early on in his career, he wanted to start investing in himself. And he's like, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to go pay to get a formal education, but I realized I can read books. I can go to summits. I can go to presentations. I can go and meet people who I look up to. And he said that essentially he considers those costs an ignorance tax, where it's like there's so many things in business that you're ignorant to because you don't have the experience, and they can either cost you money up front, where it's like, hey, I'm going to pay the money to go to the event, and the money seems like it's a big hit. He's like, but I got in a lawsuit my first year in business, and that was way more than paying to get out front of it. He's like, so at this point now, I try and pay to get out front of it. I learn as much as possible, even though I don't have that much experience. And he's like, and one, it's obviously making my business better, but two, it's preventing me from making mistakes that would cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, one of the guys on the way out, he was like, Nick, it's crazy. Like, I learned so much about the contracts that I need to implement. And truthfully, I've never once had a contract with a client. I'm like, that's amazing. Like,
yeah,
it's, and that's great. And like, it works until it doesn't.
Yep.
And, it kind of reminds me of, I mean, when Julian started here at NS, we had talked about getting a safety officer, and I had previously like onboarded a safety guy and helped put stuff together. And I couldn't dedicate the time to it. So I canceled it. And Julian's like, I really think we should do it. Like, we should just have something in place so we have like a backbone or a backstop, and have the health and safety manual put together, blah, blah, blah. And he did. He reached back out, and he was connected with the safety guy. He's on a monthly retainer, and we basically got all of our ducks in a row. And then he does these weekly, weekly inspections of just the job site, and just issues a quick report. When he's there, he like talks with the guys like, hey, I can put this on the report, or you can fix it right now. And everyone's super receptive to it. And I don't think he had been doing it for more than 3 months when we had someone fall. And the guy fell off scaffolding from the roof and went to the hospital. And, ambulance shows up. OSHA was there in like 16 minutes. And my safety guy was there in like 17 minutes, because my super's like, I know what I have to do. We have a safety guy. I'm going to call him.
Yeah.
Hey, we had an issue. This guy fell. He's like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 17 minutes. And OSHA showed up, and they're like, where's your health and safety manual? Where's your OSHA logs? Where's this? Where's that? And, walk me through the job, make sure like I understand what's going on. and OSHA left, and they were like, "You guys are great. Like, let's hope for the best for this guy." And I'm like, if we didn't have that, we would have been screwed. Like, we would have spent, it would have been a minimum $5,000 fine, like minimum, if not like way more than that. And
Probably
like,
way more.
And it's like it's probably $1,000 a month we pay for his retainer. And it's like, dude, like that was worth it just for that. And, fast forward, the guy was thankfully fine. He got checked out of the hospital, and I think he was back to work the next day. Like, I think he was back up on the roof the next day, like a boss. But yeah, it's just like, that's a great example of, kind of like you said, the ignorance tax. Like, I could have just been like, oh, I don't have it because I don't need it, or haven't done it because I've never needed it. And it's like, yeah, but what's that saying? Like, 4-wheel drive, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
It's being around people who are invested in that and in their business too. It was a very productive week where, obviously I've been involved with trade shows, and when there's like an entry fee and that's it, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know how focused people are going to be, but it was, especially me coming from school where I'm sitting in like an educational setting and I just can't wait to get out of there. Like, everyone was so focused the whole time. Which it was pretty impressive. I was impressed with how focused everyone was. But it was so great. The hotel was great. Food was great. Kayla and Morgan and whoever sets that up, it's fun. It's like, I told Rachel, I was like, yo, you should come away to one of these, because you'll be in a city that you most likely haven't spent that much time in. You can do whatever you want during the day. Come hang out, and then go and hang out and do dinner or something afterwards, and just get like a few days away. So I know a bunch of people had done that and brought their wives or their significant others to make a trip out of it. I know the guy Slade from Arizona was going from the event in Boston, taking a train to New York City, spending some time in New York City, and then heading to State College to see a Penn State game.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I think you're absolutely right. I think, more than 50% of people make it a trip.
Yeah.
And bring their significant other and just make a trip out of it and have fun with it. Because, I mean, that's kudos to Morgan and Kayla, because they always do find the fun cities and the fun spots. And I mean, I did nothing. Like, I hosted it in Boston, but I was like, hey, where are we going to dinner? And they're like, oh, we're going to this place and that place. I'm like, oh, those are good spots.
That Mexican place was so good.
It was really good.
I had to, like, I could have eaten about 6 plates worth of food, but I was like, I'm gonna stop at like 1.5 because it's so good that I could just continue to eat. And then the dessert, when they brought out churros for dessert, and like, churros are okay. I'm like, take it or leave it. It's fried dough and cinnamon and sugar. But I don't know what these churros were. They were incredible. And then they had all of these different dipping sauces where I'm like, all right, this is worth the price of admission right here. They were so good. I also had to leave at that point because I'm like, I could eat 2 dozen of these.
Yeah, I think I grabbed a few churros from my pocket on the way home. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, going back to your comment, the people. So the people is what I think makes the event so worthwhile. And it's very much the fact that everyone is investing a fair amount of time and money to be at this event. And so, it's super serious, and it's going to be super productive. And I think that's what makes it I think that's what makes it so valuable. Like, I'm obviously speaking from as a host, but I mean, even for me, I leave there, I have a page full of notes of things that I learned. It's like, this is what I heard from this builder. And it's just, even Morgan, just, we got to get her
Morgan's back. Stuff is like
it's
way over my head. It's way over my head. But like, so, all right. So for those who are unaware, Morgan and her husband's business is construction to style. Jamie basically handles all of the work end of things. Morgan handles a lot of the paperwork back end, the marketing. I look at it as like 2 different businesses with what she does in her marketing, click-through links and SEO. And I'm pretty sure that she's self-taught, but if you look at like what she's actually doing on that side of the business, one, it's just an overwhelming amount of information. Two, it makes me feel like I have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about or doing. And three, she actually is so good at it and so efficient with it that she does so much in such a little amount of time, that it's very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about that stuff. And she had me, when we got back, she had me hop on a phone call with her with like an AI marketing type company. And I was on the phone call and it was 45 minutes long. You know, companies will have a phone call with you and they're like, yeah, let's block out 45 minutes and it's 15 minutes and you're done. She was on there for 45 minutes asking questions. And I'm like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. So I just sat on a phone call for 45 minutes and pretty much said nothing the whole time.
Yeah. Did you learn anything?
That I'm completely ignorant when it comes to everything that she does.
Right. It's like you realize that there's this like whole untapped potential, right? I think like going back to what Nate said, like the ignorant tax. It's like you didn't even know that whatever they're talking about is a potential of you being able to do something. And I think
that's the biggest thing is like everything that we're doing, we think that we're limited to just making money through like the avenues that we're using, but she's making money 6 other ways, where it's like probably even more money than their contracting business. And I don't have the time to do it, but if you had somebody that you could hire or put them in place, or if your wife works for the company or you have a partner who works for the company, it's like get somebody on board doing that stuff and you can make so much other money and diversify your business, which I was completely unaware of, like the opportunities there with what she's doing.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. I have a lot of fun doing the event. Leading up to it, there's a tremendous amount of pressure because, or at least on my end, where it's just like I want to make sure we deliver. And I don't think we've had one event where someone, like a group of people are like, this is like a fire hose, and I can't even take all this information in. Which I think it was after the first one we were like, all right, this is it's almost too much information, so we have to dial back what we share, but also offer up like, here's all the content we went through, here's the physical documents, here's the templates, here's how we do what we do, and then you build the community, right? Like, at this point we have 180 people in that community that have all been to the event and have the opportunity to network with one another. Morgan was saying that some of the past attendees have started businesses together because of the event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they've went off and be like, hey, we should start a business together.
I know the guy Jeff was like, yeah, I'm coming to the next 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even think we have 6 planned out, but all right, cool.
Now, so we do have Omaha, which is in May. And tickets are on sale. Which
Chicago is in the like planning stages, right?
Yep, for next November. Which I don't think we are selling tickets. And then we obviously will do our Builder Show, pre-Builder Show meetup. I think it's the night before the Builder Show in February. We typically rent out a big room at a restaurant, which, based on what I saw for numbers, it sounds like we're going to need a bigger room.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this also with regards to people coming to the show. And I said this beforehand leading into it, where it's a small enough group that everyone can let their guard down and be open and vulnerable and honest with their business. And like people come into it first day, first night, and everyone, my business, we do this, we have that many sales. Like every conversation with you have somebody, and then I'll basically start opening up by being like, I struggle with this. I don't make money here. This is like, I only just being open about my business and transparent about my business and numbers. And all of a sudden people are like, well, yeah, like we struggled on this job and I think our margins aren't where what they need to be. And like, I don't think that we'll get to these numbers. And after the first few conversations, people put like the ego aside, and then they put, like let their shoulders down enough where it's like, I don't have to convince you that I have a successful business or that I do 8 million in sales a year, that I have so many employees. at that point they're like, yeah, we're here because we're struggling in some way, shape, or form, and we want to basically be a part of this and learn as much as possible, some commiseration, but really just like understand what we can do to make a more successful brand and a more successful business. But it being more involved from the get-go this time, I could like see the moment where people's conversations were shifting from like, hey, we're so and so, we're this big of a company, to like, I need help here.
Mm-hmm.
Which was I don't think you'd be able to get that in a bigger setting, like at the JLCs, at the Builder Show. It's the conversation with everyone where they're, I don't want to say bragging about their business, but they're like trying to sell you on what they do,
Yeah.
and you don't get like the really the insight in the honesty into what their business looks like and what they may be struggling with.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break from the podcast and remind you to head over to moderncraftsman.co. You can find out more information about us. You can download some freebies. We got a labor burden calculator as well as our pre-construction agreement up there. But most importantly is hit that subscribe button, sign up for our newsletter. This is where you're going to get all of the information behind the scenes. You're going to get information prior to podcast release. You're also going to get information on stuff that we're working on that we're just not sharing with the general public. So if you want to know more, head over, hit that subscribe button, or at least take advantage of the free downloads that we have on the website. So let's get back to the conversation. It's funny because like, if you think about where this podcast started, it was like these, social media conversations to live person meetups to let's get on a podcast and record and be vulnerable, to 7 years later we're having pretty vulnerable conversations on here, but there's still some filtering because it is production, right? Like people want to make sure that they're putting out a good episode. But you're absolutely right. There's a lot of, even for me, like I'm sharing, we toured White Oak and I'm telling everyone like what we spent on this and what we spent on that. And, what my true feelings are about the project and how we're going to go about executing the sale and, the reality of what it means to me as a business. It does give you that intimacy to be more transparent with what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But it like with the smaller setting and the tighter group of people, and just being more intimate, I think that it's just so much more valuable because you're not just pitching your business, you're not just selling your business, you're willing to listen and you're willing to take everything in and learn as much as possible. I know even like what Brad has done with his business over the past few years, listening to him speak about all the mistakes that he made, like current clients that he has struggles with, everything that you see online is one thing, but then what you go through and what you struggle with and what you deal with from a business perspective, not that it's something completely different, but like everyone's struggling with the same things regardless of what you see. And there's things can be done to help each other out and better their businesses and just make the industry better as a whole, which I think is really cool. Morgan, like what she does, not knowing Morgan as well until the past couple of years, like I'd always known Morgan, but what she does for this and like what she wants to do for the industry and everyone who she's involved with, makes you love her even more because she is like so sincere, and so hardworking and so driven that it's really cool to see it. If you don't know her on a personal level, once you kind of get on the inside and see how hard she works and how much she does in any given day, it's very impressive. She's like 6 people in one.
Yeah, super high energy. Got a lot of thoughts. Like it's every time I talk to her about marketing, I'm like, we need to have a debrief.
Yeah.
Cause like everything that you said, I love, and I don't even know what to start or implement, first. But I think, I said it right after her talk this year. I'm like, that was your best presentation to date.
Yeah.
Cause it was like, it was super in the weeds, but it was relatable. And, I think most understood what she was getting at.
Yeah. And then I was following up with her this week, and we were supposed to hop on a call. Then I was like, I need another hour. I'm trying to edit a video to get it out. She's like, all right, cool. And then I message her and I like don't hear anything. And then 3 hours later, she's like, sorry, I started weeding my plant beds and like got so into weeding it that I completely lost track of time and have no idea what's going on right now. I was just outside for like 3 hours pulling weeds. And I was like, all right, that's Morgan.
I love that.
Um,
Tyler, you said something a minute ago that like put me down this thought of how we could shake up the podcast a little bit, like today and going forward. But you know, the question, what are you struggling with right now? And if I were to ask you right now, like, what are you struggling with? What would your response be?
I think like balancing time
Mm-hmm.
right now. Like there's so many opportunities. We have a lot going on with the podcast, with the summit, work coming up, customers for like tool belt contracting work, and finding the balance, like finding a balance that I can basically live in both worlds and still feel that I'm giving everything 100%. I think that that's my struggle because it was always business first,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the social or the teaching and the events, that side of things, like the media side of things, was completely separate. And then I said that I wanted to switch and spend more time on social and the podcast and everything else. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take 1 day a week to be in the office. And then within a year, it's like I can't spend enough time in the office,
Mm-hmm.
which makes the work side of things challenging, where it's like I have to leave my doors open for opportunities to grow this side of it. But doing that, there's certain jobs that I can't do and certain jobs that I can't start.
Yeah.
So I think right now is like leaving myself open enough to continue to do the things that I'm doing and travel while finding a sweet spot as far as jobs go that I can make them happen and get to my return customers and everything else. So I'd say that that's my biggest challenge right now.
Yeah.
How about you?
What am I struggling with right now? I am struggling with right now the similar to what you just said, but I'll rephrase it in my side. I'm struggling with the fact that we have enormous opportunity in front of us that doesn't seem to be happening as fast as I would like. And I'm struggling with balancing my emotions of how I feel right now and how I eventually will feel. And I think all of it is rooted in that I have too much going on. And the reason I'm reluctant to give it up is because I am fearful that I will let people down. And that is something that has been, I feel like I've understood that for a while. When I had my SWAT, which you participated in, that was brought to my attention like directly, like, Nick, you have too many irons in the fire.
Yeah.
And when I sat down with some of my team, they verbatim said, Nick, you have too many irons in the fire. And I had a phone call with a good friend of mine this week, and I said, hey, I've always really appreciated your advice when it comes to business. Can we chat? And he said, you have too many irons in the fire. And then yesterday, I had a business coaching session, and he ended my call with, Nick, you have too many irons in the fire. And I don't know why. I guess I do know why. I know why I feel as though I don't want to give stuff up, because I see opportunity in all of them, and I don't want to let anyone down. And most of the time I don't want to let myself down. And I fear that if I don't take advantage of an opportunity, that I will have passed on the one opportunity that will, quote unquote, change my life. And last night, I, not just last night, but like for the last few weeks, I've been thinking like, there isn't one of those. It is, and my friend that I spoke to this week said it. He's like, if you remove emotion from everything that you're doing and you were given a blank piece of paper or you were starting completely fresh, what would you do every single day? Like, remove emotion from it. Like, what is going to award you the life? And it's not far from what I'm doing, but it made me realize that all of these extracurricular activities that I might be part of are wonderful for maybe helping the industry or helping a particular product or helping a particular company, but they're not actually fulfilling my desire.
Yeah.
And I started writing down what I wanted to focus on. And, you know, a lot of it had to do with building really cool fucking projects. And then I started questioning, are we building the projects that we want? Do we have the team that we want? And I do think that we are, and we do. And then it was this podcast. And, you know, I don't know how many years ago, like there was a few years ago that I wasn't enjoying the podcast as much, but nowadays I feel like I'm enjoying it more and more because it gives me an outlet to share something like this, but it also awards me the opportunity to connect with so many great people. And frankly, it's awarded the opportunity to host events and, you know, and now, you know, you and I have individually spoken to people on these consulting calls, and I know you were asked and I was asked, it's like, can't you guys just put together some information, some coursework, so like we can kind of dig into how you guys run things? And I mean, that was the premise behind the summit, before you were involved, and now that you are involved. But, you know, now we're launching a course, and I think that I was texting with you earlier about it. Like, that's super exciting because now that's something that we've worked for weeks on. That is, I mean, I was actually looking at it yesterday. I'm like, there's a lot of content here.
I know.
Like, almost to the point where I'm like, should this have been more than one course? But now that's something that we can give to the industry, and they can take it at the pace that they want and learn how we've done things. Like, I mean, specifically, like this one is on pre-construction, something you and I have been preaching since we started. And to be able to like package that up and like, here's what it is, here's how you do it, here's how you sell it, and here's what it can do for your business. I'm excited to see the reaction to that. And I'm excited to keep kind of giving back in a way that is, you know, residual.
Yeah. And like you said, I think with the podcast, it was it's still a lot of work. But in years past, it felt things weren't necessarily delegated properly, designated to who they need to be. Like Doug, I feel like, has picked it up. Catherine has picked it up. There's things that were really tough for us, even dealing with vendors and sponsors and partners and lining guests up, that we finally have in place that make it a lot easier. That we're just responsible for showing up and creating the interviews and obviously anything else that we have to do with that. But a lot of the things that weren't quite as enjoyable or just created additional stress in our lives have been passed off to other people who are doing a great job with them. But I also think that my relationship with the audience is way more personal now. And I don't know if that's through the midweek that I'm basing the relationship off that, or just when I meet people, like how happy they are. Like, I get emails all the time from people just thanking us for what we're doing. I mean, I think you were attached on the one that we got earlier this week. I just got another one today. And I feel as though I have a closer and more personal relationship with our listeners, and it makes all the hard work definitely worth it. And then, like, even this course that we're putting out, it's challenging. It's something new. It's something that we haven't done before. It's something that I really want to get better at and hone my skills. And that to me is what makes me get up and drives me to be the best version of myself. Like, I don't want to be going through the motions. And when I feel as though I'm going through the motions, maybe it makes sense to try and teach what I've learned to get myself to the point that it's just going through the motions, because a lot of people are struggling getting to that point. So this is like, there's things with work and there's things that in business that to me end up being slightly, monotonous and mundane. And it's like, all right, so now I'm going to create a course on this, and it's using all the same information, all the same experience, but it's something that I don't know how to do. And I'm just learning how to do. And it's been pretty exciting and pretty challenging and very rewarding at the same time. So I think it's definitely ignited a new spark for what we're doing. And I think, like you said, the potential here is basically infinite. Like, however much time we want to devote to this, we can, and we can make it as big or as small as we want to. But I think that it definitely adds another layer to the podcast of what we're doing and how we can better serve everyone.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I feel like, to recap, right? We're going to keep this podcast short today because we don't want to sit here and just talk about everything that we've, been doing this past week, and we'll be back to our regular scheduled program next week. But I feel like this week, spending time with you in Boston, being at the summit here in Boston and talking about what we have been working on with the courses and the opportunities, it's like the podcast has done just that. It's become more personal, and it's now going to be, we're going to have the ability to kind of help a lot more people in a bigger way. And, this has been a sounding board for many for a long time, and we want it to continue to be that. And for those that didn't want to hear me on my soapbox 10 minutes ago, I apologize, but thanks for bearing with me. But the reality is like, this is what this industry needs, but it also needs practical information to execute on. So, with that, like, if you didn't make it to Boston, would love to have you at least join us in Vegas, February 24th, Monday night. We're selling tickets on that on contractorscoalitionsummit.com. And then Omaha, Nebraska is June 19th to the 24th. Chicago is November 6th through the 9th. All of that stuff is on the site. And shout out to everyone that supported the event too, all the sponsors. There's some really cool stuff happening with a lot of the brands that were part of with the event that have expressed interest in continuing to help support the Modern Craftsman brand as well. So
really, yeah, cool. Absolutely. It was a great weekend. I don't love being away from the family on weekend and missing, like, we're in the middle of fall ball season. Mm-hmm. It makes it tough, but once I got on the plane and I got there, and it was so engaging and the people were so great, I completely got over that. And I was like, all right, we're here, we're helping people, we're establishing relationships. And it's like, most of those people I had met for the first time, but after one night, it was like, I've known these people forever. The conversations that we were having, seeing them, just laughing, like it's fun. It's a lot of work, but one of the like most surprising thing is like how much fun it is, and the personalities that are there, like Buzz, dude, come on. I was telling my wife about Google Juice, and it's fun. It's a good time. So yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming out. I appreciate everyone who's listening to the podcast. I'm excited to see what happens with this coursework, where we take this, your thoughts. We're putting this stuff out there as we move forward, and we, get better at doing this. We will go back, and we're probably going to either integrate new systems, new templates, new structure into coursework that's already done as well. So it's not, even if it's like, hey, I buy a course, if we ever update that course, I asked them last week, and it's like, we can basically notify everyone who's ever purchased that to, hey, there's a new update on this course, or hey, there's this new template on that course. So it's something that's always going to be evolving. And as we get better at this and really understand the best and most efficient way to do this, that's the most valuable to all of you. I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm pretty pumped. It's been a long time coming and a lot of work. And I think that moving forward, everything will be easier than the first time doing this. But yeah, we're rolling that out. So I'm excited to see what happens. If you have questions about it, or you want to ask, obviously myself, Nick, a question specifically, if there's a concern with something, if it's a pricing concern, whatever it may be, reach out to us. And we'll see whatever we can do to figure that out for you. But let us know.
So that's going to be on Teachable. So you go to teachable.com, search Modern Craftsman. It will pull up and you'll see a pre-construction course. But yeah, like Tyler said, if you have questions, you have comments, you want to let us know how the course is, it sucks, let us know. We want to make it better. We want to make it a resource for you guys. And if it's great, let us know as well. And last thing, I just want to give a shout out to Harnish Workwear. They have been a huge supporter of the podcast. They have made all of our t-shirts. They are what makes me look jacked, apparently. And they are the future of workwear. And they've just launched a Kickstarter, which we'll have the link in our bio here. But if you guys are sick of the more traditional workwear and want to be a part of developing new modern, I'm going to call it modern craftsman styled, inspired workwear, fitted pants, more robust fitted sweatshirts, then click the link, support them. They're going to give you a huge discount on some of that product on that Kickstarter. And, the support on Kickstarter will essentially bring that company to fruition. So
awesome.
With that, see you guys next week.
Adios.